I just want to start with attribution. I mean, talk to me about that because you have a lot of opinions. What role do you see for attribution-driven buying in television today?
Well, attribution is absolutely having its moment in the marketplace. It is what we keep talking about at our gatherings on a regular basis. And it's a critical part of changing what television is today and bringing television to the future. So I think attribution is critical to bring to TV. There's a whole swath of attribution that is available. I think outcome...
So define attribution. I mean, 605's world, tell me what attribution means for you guys.
So 605's approach to attribution is full funnel attribution. Full funnel attribution supports the bottom of the funnel, being able to measure very specific outcomes, return on ad spend, actual conversions, mid-level activities, whether that is site traffic, foot traffic in the real world, but also to be able to measure the impact of what advertising does to the brand. What is the lift that it has on the brand? And to elaborate on Dave's point just a moment ago, there's so much value that television advertising provides that goes beyond just the outcome. And there is the lifetime value of maybe a 6-year-old who's out of a demographic, well, who's definitely out of a demographic, but out of Target, sees a luxury car ad, that has an impact. That impression has an impact on that 6-year-old to aspire potentially to something later in life, saying, hey, I want this BMW, I want this Mercedes, etc. And that's something that, particularly with deterministic television and where we're going with television measurement, we're more and more able to do this. Now, just to go back to 605's view of attribution. So we do a lot of attribution for MVPDs, for marketers, ad sales organizations, both national programmers, local programmers, absolutely a ton of agencies. And what we're really focused on is the quality of the TV viewership data that is being used to perform the attribution, providing the highest quality TV viewership data across linear, DVR, set-top box, VOD. So that's a very, very important area that we invest a lot of money and resources into. But then it's also the methodology around attribution. And as far as methodology goes, deterministic TV is a fantastic enabler of supporting what I'll call advanced or next generation methodologies that go beyond the concept of here's my exposed audience and here's my quote unquote unexposed audience. But the problem with using attribution and calculating a lift via linear unexposed is you actually don't know if that audience is really unexposed. And this is one of the dirty secrets that we're not talking about in these forums. But the way that you solve that is you have to come up with a very high quality control mechanism. And so 605 is really, really invested heavily in terms of actual real controls as well as synthetic controls.
Okay, so let me play that back to you. I'm gonna actively listen. All right, so your 605's point of view on attribution is full funnel.
Yes.
Okay, so the attribution that you're providing is brand as much as it is business outcomes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so business outcomes is challenging, right? Because every, depending on who the advertiser or marketer is, the business desirable outcome, Dave mentioned, it's about actually getting people to the site versus it could be, conversion could be somebody's KPI. Talk to me about brand. Is brand ubiquitous? Is that a point of entry for uniformity that we can all have the same conversation about television attribution? Because I'm trying to find something that is unifying for us, right? So are brand KPIs and is brand attribution, is that something that is the same for everybody?
That, I think, is a somewhat difficult question to answer.
That's why I asked.
And the reason why is I don't think it is the same, and I think that first of all, the way that you measure the impact on the brand is a qualitative exercise, and the nature of it being qualitative allows for it to be unique in every single application. And different brands will ask different questions in surveys that are delivered in different and through different modalities, digital, telephone calls, mail, and so forth. And so I don't think that it is as unifying as possible. And I'm not really sure if it will be. And I don't think it needs to be. And as far as where we're going as an industry in terms of measurement and quantifying what is happening on television, we're moving away from the one-size-fits-all currency. And we're moving towards providing the data and technology and solutions to be able to allow each agency, each buyer, each brand to come up with the way that they want to transact and measure, and the same thing on the sales side.
So that's kind of the carrot that I was trying to lay out. So ultimately,
I'm glad I took
what I'm hearing from you is that ultimately attribution for television, that measurement is bespoke. It's unique to a marketer.
Yes,
okay.
It is.
And I'm assuming the bespoke nature of it transcends television. It's for digital. It's all platforms. It's,
absolutely.
Right. And so if I carry that forward, am I going one step too far if I suggest that the core value of deterministic television is to enable sort of custom at scale for buyers and marketers when it comes to television?
Absolutely. I went to Merriam-Webster this morning, and I looked up what deterministic means. And it's surprisingly metaphysical. It is a theory or doctrine of the will, occurrence in nature, or social or psychological phenomena are causally determined by preceding events or natural law. So I felt that wasn't necessarily applicable to our conversation today, and there was a link to click on determine. So determine in the Merriam-Webster dictionary online has 11 different definitions. The one that I felt was most relevant for today and for defining what deterministic TV is, it is, quote, to fix conclusively or authoritatively. And so that is the essence of what determinism is as it applies to media measurement and attribution and data activation. But what 605's definition of deterministic TV, to take a third step, is to be able to easily match content and ad viewership or exposure at the individual household level to any other data set, whether that's outcomes, whether it's demographics, psychographics, whatever kind of data you want.
Okay, again, I'm going to go back to my signal noise ratio because we have this history. Actually, I just was spending with the lovely Kristen Kovner. I was spending time with her and my team a little bit ago, and we were talking about that the legacy of our industry and our legacy of growth for what are new platforms, new mediums is like shiny objects, right? It's net new formats, new platforms, new audiences, et cetera.
Yes.
Like we got 12 hours, 8 minutes a day. We're tapped out. I mean, there's no more time in the day, right? So we're talking about sort of net new, but how do you layer that into what is ultimately still the tentpole investment in medium that works, like television? Like, I mean, because that's a bigger conversation, right? If we just continually throw stuff out there and we want our marketers and advertisers to throw their dollars at new objects, it's not setting them up for success unless they're also increasing the ROI on what is their legacy anchor spend as well.
Absolutely. And deterministic television is the key to being able to understand that, because we can see...
Unpack that for me. Be really specific about that.
Yes. We can see at the individual household level, at least 605 can, across 21 million households, we can see at the individual household level what is being consumed. Okay, and we can then marry that up to other views of the ecosystem, if you will. If it's a probabilistic panel base of the ecosystem, that can theoretically be overlaid on top of that. So you could say, hey, I transact using Nielsen age gender, and that's how I plan my big dollar budgets. But I still want to be able to activate against my customers' KPIs. Okay? And so deterministic TV can essentially operate almost like digital does and say at a very granular level, here's definitively what is going on. And this becomes the key to then also looking at, from a advertising marketplace perspective, we have a national advertising marketplace. We have a local advertising marketplace. We also have a much more nascent, addressable advertising marketplace. And, Nielsen's good at measuring the national component of that with its panel. But if you want to look at television holistically, you need a mechanism to be able to unify these three disparate marketplaces. And that's what deterministic has the ability to do. It has the granularity.
Okay, so I need you, so sort of on the tail end of our chat, I want you to take off your corporate allegiance and loyalty. Just, we're two media dorks having a conversation.
Okay. I thought we were that.
Well, we don't have business cards now. So all this is great. It's more data, it's more effort, it's more operational complexity, it's more systems, all that, right? It's more measurement. So that is more cost. And that can either be a higher cost of doing business or cost of goods sold, or that could be an incremental increase in the value of what you're buying, so it becomes a premium. And somebody's got to bear that cost. Where does it fall? Where does deterministic television, let's just pretend we can wrap it and put a bow on it. Where does the burden of bearing that increased economic cost of doing business sit in the value chain? Of guys that are in the middle, right? I mean, is it marketers that they want more ROI, so there's an incremental cost to that? It's sellers, this is now table stakes, a cost of doing business. You got to append your inventory and productize it with data. How does it play out in the next 24 months?
So right now the cost is going to be borne by the parties that are leaning in. So if there are national TV programmers, or if there are MVPD ad sales teams, if there are local broadcasters that are feeling that there's an opportunity to win back digital dollars, if obviously the marketplace dynamics are changing quite rapidly, that if they need new tools to sell to create new value for the ultimate, end advertiser, I think that you're going to find that in that case, sellers are going to invest in services, data, and solutions to be able to accomplish that. But on the flip side, all right, and I'm putting the 605 hat on, I'm sorry. We have relationships with companies like Walmart and Uber that have vast amounts of first-party data, and they want to be able to maximize the value that they can from their wealth of data on the TV ecosystem for multiple applications, whatever the business need is within the organization. And so you're definitely going to find marketers leaning in that respect as well. But the thing is, there are agencies as well that are leaning in. So it really comes down to who will lean in. Long term, I think that you'll end up seeing a cost model that is somewhat similar to what exists today with current measurement and TV viewership data sets, and that the cost burden will be spread proportionally across the three different parties, most likely.
Okay. Do you think we're going to still be saying deterministic TV this time next year? So
the thing is, what deterministic TV actually isn't a means unto itself. And anyone who is just purely using deterministic television viewership
Which, by the way, is no one. Little secret. Just a little secret. We did a survey.
Well, okay. So, so anyone that's just using raw ACR data or raw set-top box data, or in the case of 605, we combine set-top box data with ACR data so we can get the best of both worlds. But you have to apply cap and edit rules. You have to have a team of people that are looking at the data coming in on a daily basis and monitoring what is missing, what is good, what is bad. There has to be a massive investment in terms of data science to support national projection methodologies, local projection methodologies. If you're weak in one particular DMA from a data coverage perspective, you have to invest and adjust so that you can ensure that you're providing accurate reporting on that. And then in terms of the scale of the data set, we have 21 million households. We have individual household level weightings for each and every single one of those households. And that is where we need to go, is we need to make deterministic data, and 605 is doing this today. We have to make it nationally representative. We have to make it locally representative.
So to play that back to you, the integrity of the data with which we use to buy television has to continually improve. Doesn't matter what we call it. Is that fair?
It will always have to continually improve.
Okay, I love it. Thanks, Noah.